Chapter 24. Violet. Syndrome is a genius, Kari declared. Kari, Lucy warned, you're not helping. Sorry, but he is, Kari said as the Pizza Planet delivery car flew through Metroville and she attempted to get the car to work with the spy guy so they could make it to the right place. It was so complicated. Violet wished there was a gadget that could help you navigate directions. He's made an invention that can tell you whether anyone is in the room, and it also acts as a homing device. Too bad we can't get the car to find the location. Car, please head to Nigel's at the beach. Lucy tried the umpteenth time. Location not found, said the car again. The girls groaned. What are we going to do? Lucy asked. Get out and walk? That would take hours, Kari said. Violet took the spy guide from Kari's hands. Is there a way to zoom in on this thing? Maybe if we get to see Nigel's up close, we can find some other landmarks to give the car. She pressed the screen and the image magnified. Keep doing that, Lucy said. Violet kept pressing till she could see Nigel's on the edge of a cliff at the beach. Violet glanced at the surrounding area. There was no other landmarks, just rocks. Car? Can you take us to the beach by the giant boulder? Location not found, the car said again. Violet kept trying, moving her finger over the screen to see what else was nearby. She noticed something tall. Oh, look! Kari leaned over the device. I know where that is. Car, can you take us to the Metroville clock tower? She looked at the others. It's a beach monument that my mom and dad used to meet at all the time. They used to walk all the way to the water, taking turns carrying the beach chairs and directions to the Crow Beach chair, the car said. Let me try, Violet suggested. Car, can we get directions to the Metroville clock tower? Directions to the Metroville clock tower, the car said and made a hard left. Kari threw up her hands. That's what I said. Maybe it likes my voice, Lucy said gently and checked the spy guy again. It looks like from the clock tower it's a straight path down to the water and Nigel's. She frowned. Doesn't look like it's an actual road, though, but we will make it one. Now that we're going to the right place, let's talk gadgets, Violet said and pulled out Lucy's bag. Luckily, I know what all these things Lucy brought are for. These are comm links. She held up the one that was identical to her mom's. Even if we're separated, we can be in touch. And these things are smaller than a tube of lipstick, so they're easy to hide. Cool, Kari said, swiping one immediately. Even though the homing device on this car has been turned off, the second we approach the restaurant, Syndrome will know, Violet guessed. I'm sure he has tight security. Even if he doesn't know it's me, he will come after this car. And I'm not sure comms links, freeze rays, and shrink buttons are enough against him. Lucy frowned. I'm not loving this negative attitude. Can we be positive here? You're right. Sorry. Violet looked at Dash's tricks and wondered, how did she out-trick a trickster like Syndrome? She thought for a moment. Beat him at his own game. Wait a minute. Maybe our gadgets will work if we can at least get the car onto property sight unseen. Mastermind allowed a delivery truck on her property, even if she was suspicious. So what if we call Syndrome at Nigel's and use me as bait? She was spitballing, but the ideas were coming fast. Give you up? Lucy questioned him from the backseat. You have no powers. True, but I do know what he's planning. I could threaten to tell the agency all his secrets and where he's at. What's he going to do? Flee? Abandon his beach house, regular house in Volcanic Island? Where would he go? It was kind of how he'd forced her hand too. Where are you going to live? He said. He owns a volcanic island? Kari asked incredulously. Lucy thought for a moment. It's risky. He might have somewhere else to go, and then we'd have no clue where he was taking your family. But could he get everything he needs out of the beach house in the next 20 minutes? Violet questioned. Because we'll be there in 10. So maybe we call as Mastermind and say she has me, and she wants to make a trade. Nullify her for me. And if he won't trade, she'll let me tell the agency all my hideouts. If I were him, I'd let a car with me onto the property. That's a lot of ifs, Lucy said with a sigh. But it could work. But how do we get Syndrome to believe Mastermind is calling? Kari asked. Violet grinned. That's where the world's best impressionist comes in. Lucy, you could call Syndrome as Mastermind and say you want to make the switch. Kari piped up again. But didn't Violet say her mom knew it was really Lucy calling from the movies the other night? Hey, who is the negative one here now? Violet questioned and looked at Lucy. My mom knew you did impressions. Syndrome doesn't know you. I think it will work. Lucy bit her lip. Well, I am a good impressionist, but I haven't heard Mastermind's voice in forever. Uncle Lou used to show me video interviews he did with clips of her, but it's been ages. All I remember is that she went everywhere with a white dog. A poodle? Violet asked. She still does. Wait a minute, Kari said. Is this Mastermind? She pulled up a video clip on Dash's spy guy and handed it to the others. I found this on Dash's device when I was replaying his message. You're in the video too. I thought this was that Mirage woman you were talking about, but now that you mentioned the poodle, look. There was Mastermind in her office, gesturing wildly with one hand while holding the poodle with the other. Mastermind's back was to the camera, which meant that Violet could see her across from Mastermind. She didn't look as scared as she remembered. Dash must have secretly filmed this. This is her. Turn it up. Kari hit a button and Mastermind's velvety voice filled the car. Try this. As she listened, Lucy began mimicking Mastermind under her breath. Problem solved, Violet said, exhaling. Next, we call Nigel's and pretend to be Mastermind. Car, Kari thundered. Call Nigel's. I think I ate there once before it closed. My grandma got food poisoning. I think it was the salmon. My mom always says, never trust frozen salmon if it's not fresh. It's no good. Calling Salmon Nigel's, said the car. No, Violet corrected. Car. Call Nigel's at the beach. Hang on, Kari said. Didn't you say we need to call that agency thing too? Yes, Violet slapped her head. Even if they couldn't get there as fast as she could, maybe they'd be her backup. It was worth a shot. Car, call this number. She recited the one on Mom's note. The phone rang twice, and then there was a voicemail. Hello, you reached Rick Dicker. Please leave a message. Hi, Violet cleared her throat. This is Violet Parr, Helen and Bob's daughter. My parents and brothers are in trouble. A villain named Syndrome has them at Nigel's at the beach in Metroville. And if we don't get there quick, he's going to use a weapon Mastermind created that will strip their powers. I've already lost mine, but I'm going after them. Hurry, she hung up. Please send backup, she thought. Okay, my turn, said Lucy. Car, call Nigel's. Calling Nigel's, said the car. The line picked up immediately. Hello, pet, Lucy purred. Mastermind, I've got the girl, and I'm putting her in that heap of junk you call an invention and sending her to you at your beachside lair. In exchange, I expect my nullifier. If not, well, we both know I know where you are. And newsflash, I've already had Violet call the agency and give them your location. If the nullifier isn't in that car and on its way back to me within the hour, I'd start packing up your party or your party is over. The girl will be there shortly, pet. Make sure you let the car onto the grounds. She hung up. The three high-fived. I make a great supervillain, Lucy crowed. I can't believe I just pretended to be Mastermind. Now all we have to do is go save my family, Violet said. She felt a familiar sense of rage flicker to life. It wasn't her powers, but it was an energy beating inside her, a determination to finish this no matter the cost. She couldn't imagine a world where Dash and Jack would grow up as villains, where her parents, who were still alive, could lose their lives because of her mistake. They passed the clock tower, and the car made a quick left, then a right onto a bumpy, sand-covered path lined with tall beach grass. It was clearly not an actual road. Violet had an idea. Car, stop, please. The car did what it was told. Violet looked at the others. I think you two should get out of here. If you're in the vehicle when I arrive at the restaurant, you'll immediately be captured. But if you get out now, you might find another way in. We all have comlinks, so we can communicate once we're inside. She grabbed the tiny happy face pin that was a shrink ray. I'll hold on to this. It might come in handy. But you're going to be alone, Lucy reminded her. I've been on my own for days, but I'm not alone anymore. Violet smiled. I have backup now, and gadgets to help me till you show up. At the end of the day, Syndrome wasn't a super either. He was just a guy with a vendetta. She was a girl who loved her family. If she thought about it in the most basic of terms, she had a shot. She tried to sound confident. I'm going to be okay. Okay, Kari and I will be right behind you. Lucy peered out the window of the car and looked at the beach grass before opening the door and stepping out. Come on, Kari, let's go infiltrate a supervillain lair. Lucy was fearless. If anyone should have been born with powers, it was her. Kari slid out from the front seat beside Violet, clutching a spy guy. She looked at Violet. Don't die till we get there, okay? Violet grinned. I'll do my best. Kari squared her shoulders and looked at Violet. I'm going to find your brothers. A good babysitter never loses her charges. The world's best babysitter, Violet corrected, hugging her before letting her out of the car. Car continued to Nigel's. The car started moving again, her friends watching as the car rolled away. Violet was alone and barreling towards what she knew was a supervillain lair. She'd faced Mastermind and escaped. She could do the same when it came to Syndrome. She had to. Up ahead, she could see a blue wooden restaurant at the edge of a rocky cliff overlooking the ocean. It had a large wraparound deck with splintered wood, faded paint, and dirty windows. Clearly the place hadn't been open in a while. A massive pelican-shaped sign was hung at one corner, dangling precariously over the ocean. Not the type of place Violet expected Syndrome to have another lair, but she supposed the rent was free. Outside, she saw 4 guards patrolling the perimeter. She shoved the happy-faced shrink ray and comlinks in her pockets, which was probably the best feature of this supersuit. She could have changed out of it for this mission, but super or not, this suit was a part of her now. The car rolled to a stop in front of the car park, and the guards approached the vehicle. Violet's heart was pounding as they peered inside. Tell the boss it's really the girl. We've got her, one reported. She heard mumbling on the other end of the guard's headset. Get her out of the car. He wants her inside the hangar, said the first guard to the others. A hangar? Why would a hangar be inside a beach shack? She wondered, scanning the area. She imagined something almost like Mastermind's place, built into the side of a cliff. The guards each approached one of the 4 doors with electrified sticks. Violet felt her palms grow clammy. Right about now would be a great time to have powers, she thought, her heart lurching at what she'd so freely given away. If she could have become invisible or used a force field, she could have busted right past them. Instead, she'd have to fight any way she could. One of the guards yanked her out of the vehicle. Violet smelt the sea air as someone grabbed her left arm and another grabbed the right. Don't make any moves, a guard warned. She doesn't have her powers, remember, said another. What's she going to do? They laughed. Violet was determined to prove them wrong. Her mind was spinning as they approached the rickety deck and a set of double doors that had pelicans painted on them. Did she try to do something now? Or did she wait until she was inside? Take her down to the hangar, said the first. 2 of us have to stay up here to keep watch. Boss is pretty sure Mastermind will show up. She was down to 2 guards. Those were better odds. Violet felt her heart thumping as she approached the stairwell. She walked quietly down the first winding set, then started down the second where the air was cooler. She could hear talking in one of the guards' headsets, but couldn't make out what they were saying. They were halfway down the second set of stairs when Violet twisted out of the hold one guard had on her using the element of surprise. What the? The first guard let go just as she landed a roundhouse kick into his waist. The goon went down, his electrified stick rolling away. Violet turned and kicked the second guard's stick out of his hand, grabbing it herself. "We need backup," the second guard shouted. "We need—" "Who? Wait, we've got the girl. Who is upstairs? More kids?" Lucy and Kari had made it. Violet heard more shouting through the earpiece. She pulled the happy face button out of her pocket and shrunk the second guard down to the size of a rat. All she could hear now was squeaking. "Back up!" the first guard said, getting up. "She's armed! She's got you!" Violet replied cheerily, turning the button on the guard and shrinking him as well. She started running down the stairs as fast as she could. If she reached the hangar before Syndrome was alerted, maybe she had a shot. At the bottom was an entrance to a large cave. She hugged the exterior and peered inside. Computers lined one wall of the hangar, and several omnidroids lined the other. There was even a helicopter parked in there. At the other end of the hangar was a partially open large metal door out to the beach and the water. At least a dozen goons were working on computers, but there was no sign of Syndrome, her brothers, or her parents. Violet slipped through the doors and saw exactly what she was looking for. In the center of the room stood a glass chamber attached to several tubes. Inside the center chamber, suspended in bubbling liquid, was the nullifier. Violet started to run towards it, but stopped when she saw something out of the corner of her eye. Her family. They were trapped behind electrified bars on the opposite side of the room. Jack was wailing from her mom's arms. Dash was talking a mile a minute, and her dad was screaming it at someone Violet couldn't see. But they were all alive. They were here. She'd found them. She let out a sob, and they turned towards the noise. "Mom! Dad!" Violet whispered, her eyes filling with tears. "Violet!" Dash cried out before he could help himself. Violet froze, making eye contact with a guard at a computer. "Run!" her mom instructed, and then her dad started to yell too, but it was too late. Syndrome crossed the room in mid-flight, while several guards ran on foot. "Look who showed up," Syndrome crowed. "The whole family is together now for the big event. You can have the seat of honor, Violet. Guards, get her." Violet spun around, prepared to kick her way out of there. Instead, someone elbowed her in the back. She were down and looked up in surprise. It was a woman with short white blonde hair. Violet recognized her immediately. Despite the hair change, she smiled as she leant over Violet and zip-tied her hands. "Hello, Violet." "Miss me?"